Hi everyone, I'm going to show you a little bit today about how I do my dyeing. I'm doing it out here in the garage to start with, and the products I use only RIT dyes. I have a bunch of them, just as the ones I'm going to use today. The reason I use RIT dye is just everything has to be color fast before Vicky can use it. So the overall is I'll be doing the dyeing, then I'll do rinsing, fixing, washing, ironing, drying, and so forth. Okay, so I wanted to show you, there'll be multiple cuts in here because I'll do some zoom in, zoom outs, but I wanted to show you what I use, okay, and why I chose some of those things. First, there's a lot of prep that goes in before I get to this point. I have already, over the course of weeks, I've already taken and cut out of the bolts various fabrics I'm going to be dyeing. This is a 28 count. Usually I use quarter cuts because I can do bigger things. You can see here I can do bigger things, but I tend to prefer to do quarter yard cuts because it's easier. So over the period of previous dyeing sessions where I didn't use fabric or later, I'll have quarter cuts that were serged with the serger machine. I have some Luganas. I have some, this is a light, that was white cast shell. This is light sand cast shell. I have other things, but today I'm only going to be doing 28 count dyes. I have some Quakers and some other things, which I probably won't necessarily use this whole stash today, but whatever I don't use will be saved for next time. Okay, so that's fabric. For containers, I do a few things. One, these plastic containers, a lot of the things I bought are disposable. So if they get bad or dirty or something, I throw them out. These containers were purchased at Sam's Club. They're the ones that, in the restaurant area, these are the ones that you would use in a restaurant to take dirty dishes back to be cleaned off the tables. These, you'll see me using these a lot today. You buy stacks of them, like 20 at a time. Again, at Sam's Club. They're for, different warming pots, half size and quarter size. I don't use the full size ones because I don't need that much space, but I could. So I have a bunch of those, and as they get dirty or whatever, I throw them out. I have a stash of disposable gloves that, because I'll put them on and off during the time if I have to stop, I'll take them off, throw them away, put them back on, and just reuse them. The other thing that I use that people don't use, or others don't necessarily use, is container. This type of container. I've also bought various sizes of these. These are like condiment containers that I have bought over the months. Smaller ones, this size, and I put my dye. What I do is I put my dyes, my dilution of dyes in here, and then you'll see me squeezing them on or mixing them up. And I have, at the moment, these are the ones I've cleaned that I have, and I also have a stash over there of unopened ones. Again, those I bought at Sam's Club, like 6 or 8 at a time, and I bought a bunch of them so I can use them. Okay, so that's the basic supplies. I do have a few other trays sometimes for flat things. I have measuring cups, of course. I have teaspoons, measures, and a few other things. And for me, more importantly, I have a chart that as I make certain dyes out, I'm going to write down the dilutions, because then if I like it, I can come back and do it again. Salt is used to make the, if you put salt in the RIT dyes, they'll stay bolder. If you don't put salt in, if you want it lighter fabric, it'll stay lighter. Shaving cream, you know, for resist. Little cups, you know, little wash your mouth out cups, which I use sometimes if I want to dilute something, just a specific amount do that from what I have. These are useful. These are the clips that you can buy. Because what I do is, as I dye, this is my hanging rack. Things go on the hanging rack. And you don't see it, but on the floor I have a tablecloth. I have plastic tablecloths, and I also got a Sam's Club that you use to cover food service tablecloths. And you use to cover things that throw them away. So as things drip on the, off of the rack, or as I'm mixing, then later I just roll it up and throw it away, so I don't have to really do much cleaning. Paper towels and so forth. I also have a stash of little bits of odds and ends fabric that as I am trying to make sure I get the color that I want, I can dip it into the color or spray it on so I can see if it's too bold or too pale, and then these of course get thrown out. And oh yeah, sometimes I have Pyrex dishes. So those are the supplies, and of course, like I said, I have my RIT dyes. I choose what I do, and part of the prep, in addition to doing the fabric, I sit down, and on the RIT dye site, they have a PDF of like hundreds of different colors and suggested mixes. So if you want to make a shirt in a certain color, you can find the color and use that proportion of dyes. I use the color chart to give me an idea of the colors that I'm going to I want to attempt to make, although I don't make it at that density. I usually go with about 1.5 cup mixes, sometimes more, sometimes less. So I'll do my mixing, and then I'll put it on the cloth. And so what I've done is I have the list of like half a dozen colors that I'm going to try to do today, with suggested suggested mixes, and I'll proceed from there. So that's that, and of course the RIT dye fixative, use more of this than anything else. Paintbrushes and whatever else I want, more scraps. So I'll finish getting set up, and we'll start dyeing. Okay, so before I actually start putting things in water, I'll show you what I have. Over there, that's waste. Those are my dyes for the day. These are clean waters, and this is where I soak my items, my fabric, before I use them, to get rid of the sizing. Okay, I don't use boiling, I just use hot water. All these are hot water, and those will be mostly empty. These will be mostly empty by the end of the video. This one will stay the same. It'll be murky colored. And over there, we'll have whatever I'm not using from the leftovers, and I might throw something in there to change it. Then up here, I've sorted my fabrics, cast shells, Luganas, and some other odds and ends, Quakers, and so forth. So I can start doing what I need to do. Okay. So first, let's take some cast shells and start soaking them. Ouch. Hot water. Okay. Okay. So the first color I'm going to be going for today is I'm trying to get to a gold, and according to the instructions, I'm going to use a couple of different colors. I'm going to see if I can get it medium gold, so I'm going to be using Sunshine Orange and Camel, and possibly a little bit of golden yellow, depending on whether I like the color or not. Okay, so I do most things in 1.5 cut measures. Once I figured out the exact proportions I like, then I'll write it down. So let's start with, also, of course, you have to remember, start light. You can always darken it, but you obviously can't lighten it. Just standard additive color mechanisms. Okay, so let's try 1/4 teaspoon each. That's orange. See what we get. A little too orange. Let's put in the fraction of yellow. See if I can see what the yellow is. Okay, so those were 8. Still too orange for my tastes. So next time I will use less orange. Well, not sure if that's really gold or more brown. I'll have to actually see on a piece of fabric. Okay, I'm gonna want it to be stay at this tone, or if I don't make it darker, at least stay at this tone. So I'm gonna put in salt. All right. Okay, now on to actually dyeing. I'm gonna try a piece of Quaker and a piece of cat shell, like pull them out of the soaking liquid. Squeezing them. Let's see. This is the Quaker. So let's see what it looks like. I'm gonna get a base. It's kind of a burnt orange, not so much a gold, maybe an old gold. Actually heading more towards brown. I don't let things sit for a very long time. Well, not always. Sometimes I do. So it looks like on the cat shell. And I'll probably put more in there. Usually a cup and a half will at least let me do 2 to 4, depending on how much I'm using, 2 to 4 quarter yards. And if I'm using multiple colors, then multiple colors, and I'll share it across different different bottles of different fabric. Actually turning nice. It's kind of looking like the light sand, but going darker, which is interesting. what I understand, you can actually use the liquid until it's pretty much clear. I don't usually go that far. Here's what we got. So far, some veining. I see some light here. Put some more color. In it. Each pass through gets specific areas darker, and I can add some control of where I want that to go with the nozzle. Much better than other ways. Now, what part am I gonna want dark? This. This is not quite a quarter yard. This is a special type of Quaker. It was made for kits, for leisure art kits. And so it's here, 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 there, there, there. Okay, so that's color number 1. And what I'm gonna do, I'll hang it up. I'll let it start drying, decide later if I want to add something else to it. That'll be the first. I'll let this soak for a little bit longer, see if I can get it darker. And so that's the first, number 1. And from there on, it's kind of rinse and repeat. I'm going to turn it off for a bit. All right, everybody, thank you very much. I'll probably have another quick clip, but the next step is that I am going to fill up those gray containers with water, hot water, and fixative. I'm gonna put these in sorted by color and let them sit for 15 minutes to half an hour while I eat lunch and so forth, and then rinse them out really and clean up and wash them in the wash machine. And then dry them. Well, no, I don't dry them. I hang them up like this to dry, and then as they get a little bit dry, or right afterwards, I iron them and then hang them up and let them dry the rest of the way. So thanks a lot.